This episode of The Construction Record is brought to you by the Ontario Sewer and Water Main Construction Association. Clean water is everybody's business.
Welcome to the Construction Record Podcast. I'm digital media editor Warren Fry. This week we've got the second part of an interview with Trevor Botkin, who spoke to Journal of Commerce staff writer Russell Hixson about his struggles with substance abuse while working in the construction industry. In this part of the interview, Botkin goes into detail about his road to recovery and how helping others going through the same experiences also helps him. He also talks about his work with HeroWork Victoria, including becoming the executive director. With that, here's part 2 of the interview.
Made a conscious decision to recover out loud and to just share my story to anybody that asked, not anybody that would listen, and take those opportunities. And it led me into the toolbox safety thing. I've had a number of people in the industry that or I used to hang out with, or people who used to work for me, reach out for help or guidance, not just for themselves but for loved ones, and that that makes me justify it. It just makes me feel better about all those years, because now that's it helps me deal with the shame of the way I was living, not only keeping it a secret, but like being transparent about it is my way of saying, screw it, I'm a worthy human being and I deserve to be here too. But the other side of it is every time somebody benefits from it, I feel like, okay, that wasn't for nothing. It's going to help somebody. So, yeah. So when I got out of treatment after 60 days, I about 2 weeks after that, I started volunteering at HeroWork just here and there. Managed to help them out big time. Did some other work with a landscaping company. Counselors were like, just use your body, not your mind. And so I was just moved. Like, I stripped it down to basics, pushing a wheelbarrow and working a shovel. And then came on full time for HeroWork in August of 2019, and January 2020 took the project lead position, and then in January of 2021 took executive director seat. So, yeah.
What do you think? I know you mentioned this a lot in telling your story. But maybe like zero in on it. Like, why do you think there is such a shame and I don't know if you call it embarrassment or just like this that prevents people from getting help or even, like you said, the actual workplace consequences? What are some of the things that you think prevent people from putting up their hands saying, yeah, I think I have a problem, I need to get some help, I need to get healthy?
We in the trades, we celebrate the suffering. We do. We're very proud that we're, physically we work very hard, harder than most. On a day-to-day basis. We're proud of working in the rain. We're proud of being up to our waist, pouring concrete in the mud, pouring foundations. Right, like there's something there, and I think some of it's not only is it justifiable, but we should be proud of it. But as to what end, to what's the end? Like, how far do you take it? Right, like. How many times we've seen guys show up on site and they're physically dangerous, like they can't function, and we'll find a way for them to get through. As I remember early on, when I was younger, especially being in really rough shape, and supervisors like, well, go work with Mike today, or just do this. They don't send you home, even they got to get shit done. So it sends this message that you got to be there, you got to show up, you got to work. And then there's the machismo, right? The toxic sense of masculinity. We can't ask for help. We don't want to be the guy that fails. We don't want to be the weak person. Never mind that we've been completely hijacked and it's completely out of our control. I could be as tough as I wanted. If I didn't get help and if I didn't go to treatment, I was going to be dead. I mean, that's the only way that ended for me. Whether I took my own life or I overdosed, or just the fatigue in my heart and my body, that was the only way that ended for me. And I still couldn't, I knew that, and I couldn't reach out for help for 20 some odd years. And I'm surrounded, like looking back now, there's so many people that were in the same boat I am. And if you look at the statistics, obviously the industry is suffering from that. We're proud of it. We're proud of how tough we are. we were proud of how much we drank. I was proud of how much blow I could do. I was, and get up and go to work the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I was proud of how many days I could go straight. I mean, we used to joke about that all the time. But you look at it, like I look back at it now, like standing around with 4 guys for a 4-day weekend, and it's the same 6 of you for 4 days straight, just pounding drugs into you and listening to music, and like none of us, like there's nothing to be proud of there. But that was something you'd go and you'd be talking to your buddies like, yeah, we just went 4 days straight, me and Jordy and Mike, and that was life. You're proud of it. We celebrate all kinds of suffering. Toxic relationships, the turmoil of our relationships. That's what guys seem to want to, complain about at the job site. But you never complain that you can't hack it. You never complain that you're struggling. You can't there's no relationship. There's no place you can go and just say, I need help. Like I'm killing myself. I'm dying here.
Mm-hmm.
We complain about the bills, constantly not having money for bills, or I got evicted for this or that. Like these are all cries for help, really. I mean, at some point somebody should be saying, "Hey, man, you all right?" Nobody does. And if you're not showing up for work, if you're not in condition to work, your boss is just going to fire you, and he's probably going to fire you before he's on it. Like if he suspects that drugs or alcohol are the thing, they're going to try and and I've been told this when I've been hired. If you suspect that, we cut people loose before they come clean about it, because then you gotta, then it becomes a legal issue.
Then you're responsible as an employer, and they'll find a way.
Yeah, they will. And what's the help they're going to offer you? They don't know. Like what do you like? We'll give you time off to get your shit together. That's it. They don't know. Go ask 50 contractors, varying sizes. If you had a guy that you knew was on drugs and that asked for help, where would you send him? They don't know. I don't blame the industry. This is where we're at. It's a multitude of reasons we've gotten here, and it's not the industry's fault I was a drug user. I had a whole bunch of problems that I came into the industry with, like a lot of men and a lot of women. If anything, the industry probably kept me alive longer in that I had, I couldn't have worked in an office the way I was. Mm-hmm. I would have been fired. I would have been maybe living on the street, But the industry, where it's just somebody has to help. Like we spend more time at our work with our work people and our employers than we do with our own families. We give the lion's share of our life to our employer, and we're dying. And so who's in the best position to get resources to people who need them? And they don't have to pay for treatment, but it should be, like it breaks my heart that a young guy I had to let go years ago. I let him go on the 21st of December. He was in no condition of work and hadn't been for a long time, and I couldn't. I immediately called the union and was like, I had to send this guy home. I'm really worried about him. They kept calling him for days and trying to get a hold of him, and it, I got a message from him thanking me for being a great boss and no hard feelings. On like the 27th, and by the 3rd he was gone, but nobody could get a hold of him. So you shouldn't. We can't just like send people off and say, hey, we can't have you here, and go, because people are now, that's just going to add to their mental health issue, right? They're going to have shame. They're going to feel like the world's picking on them. They can't cut it. They're going to feel like a loser. They're going to feel like everybody all their friends they had at work now know their situation, or they're going to be, they feel like they're going to be ostracized.
And then the worst thing is, hey, go home and be by yourself. And it's just like a perfect storm.
They're just saying you can't be here.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
They're not even giving you any. You're fired. We got to let you go, man. You're in no condition to work. That's it. And now you go home and, there's a lot of guys dying just on that alone, or in the fear of it. Right? Mm-hmm. Or toxic supply. Like, it's just it's endless. But, if I'm thankful I had my mother to go to, and she made some really good decisions for me in a very short period of time, and I had surrendered to that. But the industry, my dream is the industry gets to a point where your orientation at the beginning of of your employment, out of that hour and a half, they spend more than 30 seconds, but they show you, look, if you've got a problem and you're struggling, we want to know about it. And this is what we're going to do about it. We're going to give you some space. We can't have you in bad condition on the job site, but we can offer you all these. We can offer you connection to a counselor. We can offer you a connection to a harm reduction, entity. Like, don't let them walk out the door with no guidance. And then there should be a mechanism of checking in on them. Because, hey, look, we want to, like an exit interview, 4 days later, you get a phone call saying, but either way, whether that person takes it or not, as they're sitting there, you're starting to build a culture where people don't feel like there's as much punitive damage as, while we recognize we can't have you on a site unless in a compromised position, we do care. And we want to know if you have a problem so we can try and guide you to getting help and get you back onto the job site, But right now it's criminal and it's bad and you're out of here. You get caught. They don't talk about if they suspect. They just say if you're suspected of being drunk or high, you're out of here.
Do you think there's any bright spots? I know you said you worked with Dika on the toolbox stuff.
Yep.
Do you think that they're over the past few years or even just few months, as the opiate crisis has heated up in BC specifically, do you think there's more of a movement in the construction industry around mental health and substance use that you think some of that change could be coming?
Yes. Yeah, I have a lot of hope. For a number of reasons, we've seen a new trend. Like what I'm seeing, like in a lot of industries, is not just in the trades, but across the board, mental health is getting a lot more attention. It's becoming a real thing. Like, I remember taking, years ago calling in saying I need a mental health day, and somebody says that's not the thing. You got to tell me you're sick. You got to tell me you have the flu. But we're getting to a point where it's being more recognized. It's talked about more. There's two things going on in the industry that I see right now. I see a lot of young people coming into the industry that don't want to celebrate the suffering, and some to a fault, but across the board, more often than not, I'm seeing people that they're coming in as a career. They're not coming in here because they want to trade their physical health for their employer, like for their living. It's a different mentality. I'm seeing people come in, young people come in that they're eager to adopt safe work practices. Whereas when I came in, it was like a bit of a cowboy issue, right? I don't need that. Don't tell me what to do, because that's the guy that was training me was teaching me that way. Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing people that are interested in a safer, more healthy work environment than the generation even before them. That I also see causing a bit of conflict, because those old boys and girls, the people that like me, suddenly they don't really recognize their industry anymore, and now they're not feeling as comfortable and as, so I think there's a bit of that going on too, where people just don't know where they fit in anymore. I don't recognize my job. I don't recognize what I'm being asked to do. These young kids, they don't want to work. I hear that all the time. But and some of them don't. But I think some of them just are like, why would I break my back, when I'm 21 years old, and not be able to walk for the rest of my life like you did? It's and that's fair. I've had my back fused. I know what it's like. I don't feel good about it, but I was proud of it for many, many years. So I'm seeing that change. I know as of the toolbox, I've been called by not myself, but a few of us from the Tailgate project have been picked up, contacted by a group in Surrey that's working on a national campaign on the same topic. I'm hearing a lot of chatter. I'm getting these phone calls by journalists like yourself, and people want their spouses to quit passing away. It's an opioid epidemic. it's on everybody's mind. Everybody knows somebody is passed away. So I think this is one of those moments where things, if they're going to change, this is where it happens.
Yeah, I mean, even like my college roommate died from an opioid overdose. Like, I think everybody knows somebody.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know he used, and then I just got a call in the middle of the night. Yeah, he's gone.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even know. He just smoked a little bit of weed. He just liked to drink a little bit, and then he's gone.
That's the thing. So, but even in the industry, right? Like even in construction, those opioids they're a dirty secret. Like cocaine, the party drugs, all that stuff is the open secret. Like we all know. No, sure, I don't do it, but you can go into any. I'm sure you're in those construction social media groups.
Yeah.
Right. You just watch, like every second meme is about what they do on the weekend or how they get through the day.
Yeah.
But you get somebody that's I could guess who was using the opioids. I couldn't confirm it because I probably never used them with them. Like that was all something we all did kind of ourselves with, which it's usually the Oxy 80s are the big one. We all get them. I don't know a construction worker in 20 years that hasn't been prescribed them at some point, and then they just get carried away. And then when you can't get those, well, now you're moving to other things you can get easily, and that's where you get poisoned. But even the cocaine, like it's they're putting fentanyl on, they're putting it in everything now. It's insane.
What would be your advice for someone who's maybe, like in a similar position that you were years ago, where nobody knows, this is your private problem, and you've realized, I can't quit, I don't know what to do. What would be your advice for someone who, is struggling with something like this?
The sooner. So what I didn't know, what I wish I knew then, is there's life after it. Like you can be open, you can ask for help, you can be the guy that's failing, and there's life after it. And it comes quicker than you think. Like if you can get control of your substance misuse, if you can get a control of those things, it is amazing how fast your life comes back together again, and people will believe in you again. And I didn't know that then. I thought my whole life was gonna be over. Like I was just gonna be maybe clean, but then nobody would want to be around me. But people care more than you think than you think they do. Everybody wants to see you be successful.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more empathy and sympathy for people who, have, I mean, I guess on the news sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, why don't people just quit?" Or there's like some negativity.
Oh, comment sections are terrible.
Yeah,
right?
It's just awful. People are like, "Oh, these dirty drug users, why don't they just die and stop doing this or that?"
Exactly. And that's the stuff that sticks with you when you're there. I mean, it's good luck being talked into anything else, but as a guy that's been there, I will say it's not as, it's hard to get clean. It's a journey I'll be on for the rest of my life if I want to stay on the train. But I would say 99% of the feedback I get from others is that they're proud of me, and they support me in what I'm doing. And I look at my life today and it's unrecognizable for the positive. I don't drive a Ferrari. I don't have but I wake up, people, I can make commitments and follow through on them. People count on me, and I have a lot of responsibility again, but which I have to try and manage. That's a big thing for me, is not taking on too much, but your life comes back to you faster than you'd think. You just got to take the first step and let people know where you're at.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I think I'll leave it there. I won't take up any more of your time, Trevor. I really appreciate you talking to me and being so honest. And really amazed with. I'm so glad everything worked out for you, and that
Yeah, dude.
That you're not 6 feet under, but it's awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you, sir. Yeah, a person said to me a long time ago, if you ask yourself the question, you already know the answer.
Yeah.
So if you think you need help, if you think you got a problem, you already know the answer. So
yeah,
I'm glad I make a couple of right moves. I didn't in my wildest dreams think it would lead me to where I'm at today, but here I am, and I'm just grateful for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. This interview is both in recognition of Mental Health Week, which just happened last week, and part of our ongoing Cracks in the Foundation series. We've included links in the show notes to previous articles in the series, and you can hear the podcast on Amazon Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. And if you haven't already done so, listen to part 1 of our interview with Trevor, and the Cracks in the Foundation articles are also on the Daily Commercial News and Journal of Commerce websites. Thanks.
This episode of The Construction Record is brought to you by the Greater Toronto Sewer and Water Main Contractors Association. Clean water, our goal, our future.